to my name is Bill Stevens. I'll be your host today, and I'm really kind of excited about today's episode because I got a friend on, old colleague, old fellow college student friend of mine, and you're gonna learn a lot. So please welcome Mr. Joe LaBrie. Hey Joe, how's it going, man?
How we doing?
We're
Go
doing great.
Tigers.
Go Tigers! Yeah, we both went to LSU back in the day. Yeah, all
There it
right.
is.
What was it? Heisman Trophy winner, three Heisman's, right?
Yeah, we just got the third one in this year.
All right,
Maybe
nice.
he's coming to Washington. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I heard about that possibly.
Yeah.
Um, so Joe, it's kind of ironic. Joe, you actually live way closer to me than I thought. And Joe and I, obviously we're pretty far away. We're both in Northern Virginia. And Joe teaches over at Liberty Middle School, which is in Centerville, Virginia. And I live in I work in Manassas, Virginia, which is actually between where I live and where I go is right along the way. So,
Mhm.
all right, Joe, you ready to do some music education magic?
You got it.
All right. So, uh, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try to keep this as conversational as possible. If you have any questions, just go ahead and pop chat in. We'll see what we can do here. But Joe, let's go ahead and start. First, can you just give me a little bit of background of your upbringing or your background in music education?
Sure. I grew up in the district that you currently teach in. I grew up over there in Prince William County. I know you're in Manassas there, but right up the street is where I grew up, and then really had a typical middle school band experience. Was a percussionist, was really into it, and then marching band really brought me to the high school program, and um, I had a great high school band director, and that really got me hooked on everything. And from there, I went to LSU, and it was looking at places to go. It looks like I'm frozen there, Bill. Can you
Oh,
hear me?
that happens.
Oh, okay.
I still got you here.
Okay.
Yeah, keep it going.
Keep going. All
It's
right, you got it.
gonna go. It'll catch up. So
So, you know, in high school, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher, and what are you going to do with the rest of your life, right? The question they
yeah.
ask. And I saw I had a really positive, experience in high school with a couple of teachers, not just Dennis Brown, my high school band director, but it really got me thinking about teaching. And then, well, what am I going to teach? And Mr. Brown gave me that conversation, sat me down, and said, music ed would be a really good fit for you. And I looked into it. And
And he's kind of a legend too.
yeah,
Was that was at Hilton High School?
Hilton High School.
All
And,
right, all right.
he he is yeah, he's just the person that saw that in me and gave me that push. Really just being a part of his band program, I really learned a lot, not just about being a band student, but being a human. And so he put me in the direction of LSU, and at the time Frank Wicks was the band director at LSU, who has ties here to Northern Virginia, and went down there and got my start down there, and was a student. Met you there, of course,
Yeah.
and then came back home after college, and I started teaching at another middle school uh, in Fairfax County as a long-term sub, and
Okay.
the the sub or the teacher I was subbing for was going on maternity leave, and then her husband was in the military and they were getting moved away. So it was sort of understood. You start as a long-term sub, you take over as the as one of the directors, and when it's official, when the sub job is over. So I was able to get started in the middle of a year where I had another band director with me, a colleague that really helped me out a lot, and I learned so much just from watching him. His name's Charlie Burtz. He's also a middle school band director here in the county. And then it's funny. I'm thinking about this beginnings. When you send me the questions, you all remember your first interview,
Oh yes,
and
definitely do.
my first official. I wore a suit and tie to the long-term sub position. There were 8 people in the room on the table, across from me asking me questions. And then it's the end of the year. I assume I have the job, and it's like the day after school is out. I'm in, t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops cleaning out the back storage room. And AP comes down and says, hey, I need to talk to you for a minute. Okay, what's up? Yeah, I need to interview you for your job. Like, what? Yeah, when you become a teacher, you got to go through the actual process of being, going through an actual interview. I said, I thought I already did that. Oh, that was just for the long. You got to do it again. And kind of
Oh,
stand up, and I'm like, I'm in. Are we? All right. Well, I got to go. When are we gonna do this tomorrow? So I can say, no, come to my office. We'll do it right now.
oh, so it was
So
more like a checkbox
it
formality.
was a check, and I
Okay.
had to answer questions. And one of the more funny things about it was, I, obviously caught off guard when you want to do that. You want to obviously make a good impression. I thought that
Yeah.
had already happened. So, I like, wait, I have to do this again. And I'd give my answers, and, the AP was, like, oh, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. I think what you really meant to say was this. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, you don't
Oh,
know that.
okay. Helping you out
You
a
know,
little bit.
she took my blabbering into made it a more of a more ed speak type answer.
Well,
So I like to say that I got my first job wearing flip flops.
all
So
right.
you know
Well, they must have really liked you in that situation.
I was really fortunate, and it kind of felt like it was the perfect position for someone right out of college to come into, because I wasn't by myself yet. It was just, I had another director that had 10 years, experience on me, and learned a lot from him. And funny enough, it was Sandburg Middle School,
Okay.
which is the former building that was Fort Hunt High School. And
Okay.
Fort Hunt High School is where Frank Wicks taught.
Oh yes,
When
he's
he
a very
taught, yeah, he
very
would.
well known.
Oh yeah, we would sit in his band room at LSU and hear all about the Fort Hunt High School band. And I came back, was down for a buddy's wedding, and I was like, "Hey, Mr. Wicks, how you doing?" He's like, "Joey, how are you?"
Sounds
Hey,
just like him too.
you'll never guess where I'm teaching. And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" It's like, "Oh, I got a job. I'm in your old band room." And I just look
Oh,
confusion on his face, like, "What are you talking about?" And I just say, "Sandburg Middle School, formerly for," and he just the smile on his face, and that was just a wonderful moment with
yeah.
teacher to have that with him. It was really special.
That does sound pretty darn special, especially when it's like one of your mentors of old.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
awesome. Well,
Yeah,
cool. Well, it's like when I found out you were up here, it was kind of pretty cool because, there's only so many people, from down there. But
right.
when you went to school at Hilton High School, you had, I know there were a few different people that I knew at LSU, like
Mhm.
Pat Posey was there.
Pat Posey, Ed Ducey, and then myself. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. And there's a
Yeah.
couple others from South Lakes, which is, if for those people that don't know, I believe that's Ruston,
Hmm.
and some other areas. But yeah, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
cool. Well, let's keep on going. So we all
Yep.
know you're a middle school band director.
Yep.
You are super involved in the field. So we're gonna just kind of get your perspective on some things.
Sure.
So you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. All right. So we want to learn from you this. How do you approach teaching music to your different age levels, particularly in middle school?
I bribe them with chocolate, and no, I'm kidding. No, actually, I'm not kidding. We use
That
less.
probably works.
We buy their love, right? That's what we all do. but in a way, it's kind of semi serious. We do want to get the kids excited about being in our rooms, but I think regardless of the level, if you are able to get the kids excited about what they're doing, and I still remember the first time I heard Imperium by Michael Sweeney.
Mm.
And I was in seventh grade band, and this was a piece of music that I just like, I don't know, it impacted me. I fell in love with it, and I was like, this is, I love doing this. This is the piece of music for me, whatever. And just being really excited about going to class and
Oh yeah, band
playing
is awesome.
music and learning about this, this instrument that I chose. And when I approach teaching different age levels, I'm really doing my best to make sure the students feel, a, first and foremost, that that are they excited to be in the room? Do they know that I value them, and do I value their time? And really do a lot of hard work to build up a good relationship with the students.
That's really a really key part of doing what you do,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Because you need to get as much buy-in for when things get tough,
Mhm.
because it can be hard playing the clarinet. It can be
Yep.
hard playing a high C on a trumpet for the first time. And, you got to give them, first of all, you got to give them the tools to do it well, and give them as many small steps as possible to see success so they can build up to it. But giving them, that sense of, hey, you're valued. You're a part of this team. You're a part of this group, is just, it does a long way. um, does a lot, I should say, to get them to be with you.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, you're obviously very child-centric, but also Fairfax County has some pretty high standards, doesn't it?
I mean, we're very fortunate that we are in a county that, from the top most levels, values music education,
Oh, good.
and the supports that we have in place for our students are very, they're very well known, and most, if not all, know that being in music is a good place to be. Whether or not they want to do it themselves, they know that
Mm.
the music programs and the arts programs and all the electives, but especially for the music programs, that we're in a really special place.
Well, good. Yeah. Oh, yes. I remember teaching in Colorado and hearing about Fairfax County.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, well, and LSU, obviously down south. But no, Fairfax County is known across the nation. It's no joke. Loudoun County is too. But
Hmm.
yeah, definitely Fairfax. All right. Well, let's keep things moving. Uh, let's start with what are some effective strategies for engaging students in a typical band lesson for you?
Starting small, like I mentioned earlier. I had a professor in, it was my percussion professor in college. He talked about spiral learning, which it all has different nomenclature, but it's building on what they know. Teaching
Mhm.
background, making sure the background knowledge is there, and then building off of it. um, and whether it's from the beginning of class with your warm up, what are you doing during the warm up that's going to make sense during your instruction while you're rehearsing a piece. Things like that can make it easy for the students to connect from the first chunk, when they first get in the room, they start making sounds, to the end of rehearsal when you're maybe trying to do a run through or something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Uh, can you share a success story that happened within your career or perhaps your classroom? Tell me some stories. I know you have stories.
Well, I think we all. I mean, 21 years of teaching. You got to have some stories, right?
Yep.
I would say I still remember what I programmed on my first concert.
Okay.
And I mean, the first time you put a concert on stage and you get kids to do something, they're that's a pretty special moment. Um, I still remember, it was Portrait of a Clown, and it was a piece of music called um, "Whispering Winds" by Brian Baumages, and it was some John O'Reilly type march. And then and then we did "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer."
Classic.
And yeah, and I thought I was the coolest teacher ever. Oh, we're doing "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer." And and I think maybe at that point at the beginning, half the kids are like, okay, sure, why not? And the other half are like, what? And but you try to be enthusiastic and get that to you hope that it becomes contagious. And I think in the end they obviously enjoyed doing it. Um, so remembering that first concert was one. I remember the first time I got asked to do a district band, an honor band gig. That was a real special moment for me personally. Thinking that others would want me to be in front of their students.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty awesome honor to do that.
Yeah, I was really that was special. Um, and then as far as when you think about success, you got success in terms of, was that concert great? Were you proud of that assessment performance? But I think it's also just about when you're done for the day, do you feel like the kids walked out of that room feeling better about what they're doing? And, that
Yeah.
doesn't happen every day.
Yeah,
doesn't
oh, that's true.
it doesn't happen every day, and some days it's just let's get through this and do what we can. But I think those moments we have to acknowledge, and we have to acknowledge it to the students. We have to
Oh,
say,
yeah, absolutely.
you had a good day. Let's talk about why was this a good day, and just kind of
This
let's
is what
bottle
growth
that
feels
right
like.
in. Yeah.
Huh. Cool. All right. Well, I am big fan of that growth mindset for sure, and
Yeah.
getting our students to understand what that is. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump ahead here. Now, how do you handle the challenges within the current climate and environment you're in?
It's a tough time to be a teacher right now, I think. We got a lot of challenges. We're still a colleague told me, it's not about teaching band. You got to teach kids how to school still.
Hmm.
And I think the more we stay positive and the more we show the students that, again, the relationship piece, and that this is a place where they are valued. And then even in the before times, as it were, before the pandemic, students have to make choices, and being able to show our value when they are being pulled in so many directions. I think the way I approach that is, going to the elementary schools. And in Fairfax County, one of the things that we are fortunate to have is an elementary instrumental music program.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So my probably 80 to 90% of my students come to me with at least a year of experience. It's one day a week, but it's an
Right.
experience that they can start with me on a different level than if I were starting them.
Just
uh,
straight out. Yeah.
right. And we still have those classes, we still have those students, but the majority of them have had experience. So being able to go down to the elementary schools, having events where we are known, and whether it's I do this sixth grade band day where regardless of your ability, you come to the you come to the middle school. We do it on a 2 hour early release day. We work on 2 to 3 pieces of music that are just really straightforward, and we put on a concert in like 3.5 hours.
Oh, nice. All
And
in one day, huh?
all in one
With
day.
the
We do
sixth
it in
graders too. Okay.
there's sixth graders, and we're picking fun, just super light,
Yeah.
point 0.5 grade 1 stuff that that they're prepared to be able to do. Sometimes we'll do it where they pick a piece that I'll do a piece that all the elementary schools, they'll all have their winter concerts, and
Mhm.
we'll take one of those pieces and we'll play it again. But the difference is, of course, it's not just them in their 30-piece, band. It's like this past year we had almost 100,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was 100 kids playing the same piece at once, and that's a different experience.
Altogether, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah, and then
that is exciting.
yeah, and just getting them the chance to um, get to know me. They get some time working with some of the middle school students help out, some of the high school students help out. So they're not just hearing band is great from me. They're hearing it from, their own kind, so to speak. That
Well, that's
gets them,
really what gets them to the next level is the peers.
yeah, of
You know,
course.
they wanna have fun,
Right.
and you're talking about the culture, that culture again, and I know I'm just kinda reiterating what you just said, but that culture is so important. You're kinda lucky to have a feeder opposed to starting straight out. So
Right. And I'm very fortunate, I have some great elementary band teachers that are, in those feeder schools that really, they're we all have the same sort of philosophy about what band can be and what band is about, and then that really makes it an easy transition. And then we give them free pizza, so that
hey, there you
that's
go.
that's the kicker right there for the kids.
Oh, the
Pizza and
kid
sugar.
oh, that works with every level, I'll tell you
Yep.
what. I'm doing that to help with some assessment.
Right,
Get
of
you get
course.
a superior, we're having pizza on me. So awesome, awesome. All right. Well, now talking about this whole idea of having fun here, obviously you start in the younger grades and you find mentors and directors that inspire you to be better. But talking about even the next level, do you have advice for any aspiring music students who want to become a music educator?
Learn your bassoon fingerings. No,
That's
um,
true.
well, yeah, but I would say, I mean, pick up a secondary instrument if that's something you want to do. Can you manage playing one instrument really, really well, and then while you're doing that, can you pick up another one? And you're going to be doing that a lot, especially if you're going to be an instrumental teacher at any level.
Hmm.
You want to be able to model to students. And I remember some of the more valuable lessons that I still remember from uh you remember Dr. Bio,
Oh yeah, I
and
learned a ton from him.
yeah, James Bio was our Dr. James Bio was
Yep.
one of our music ed professors at LSU, and I still just remember his approach to those methods classes, and just being, just so like, no, this is really important. You're going to have to do this, and he would give us assignments, and we'd have to be able to play on a certain level on these instruments. And you're trying to practice for a jury, and then wait, I got to go pick up the trumpet and practice all this other stuff.
Yeah. Well, and also touching base, back to our previous professor, Dr.
Yeah.
Bio. One thing that caught me was, and I should have appreciated it more than I did, but that guy he was so organized.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, and he was meticulous, and that was, he was still like writing things down, and before computer stuff really, really took off. And man, I could only imagine what his classes would be like right now. Um,
I wonder if he would still play the bass.
that's right. But what his major instrument wasn't the bass; it was
It was bassoon.
bassoon. Was
Bassoon,
it?
or no, I'm
Oh,
sorry, it was
oboe.
oboe. It was oboe.
Oboe.
It was a double reed.
That's
Uh,
right. That's right.
and but speaking of the bass, I don't know if you were, forgive me, it's been 20 years,
Oh
20
yeah.
25. Were you, if we were in the same strings class, you remember, or maybe he did it for both of our classes. He did the bass day, and he just pulled out the bass and started playing a bass
I
line.
don't think I think I took it a
Okay.
year before you.
So he came in and didn't really say much. He just carried the basin through the door and put it down and started playing a 12-bar blues. And we're all just sitting there like, damn it. We're all, most of us are, we're all band students, wind percussion students. So we're all thinking this is really cool. And then he's like, you know what, guys, you do this really, really well. You're going to go down in the lobby and do this, and you're going to get a date.
There you go.
And
There you go. Yeah. Oh,
I raised my hand and I was being silly. I was like, can you get a guarantee? Can I get a guarantee on this, So, it was a funny moment.
yeah.
I
Oh
forgot
gosh.
about it. I do my first assignment, or the last bass assignment, I guess. And, remember those little slips of paper he'd give us with the comments? He'd
Yep.
give us like our little, he's modeling how we should give feedback to students.
Mhm.
And the very first sentence, we do the bass thing. His very first sentence was, Joe, you're not going to get a date. Oh!
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious. You're right. I mean, he was essentially, I mean, he had his like rubric system and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And
And I know that was sorry for the tangent there.
no, I love it.
But for the younger students that are considering music education, if you can find a way to start before you hit into college, I think it'll do wonders. Even if it's just one secondary instrument, I would say that's something you can. We had a fellow student. I remember he went as far as he played. He was a percussionist and he played low brass in the third band at
Okay.
LSU because it was something he could, he really wanted to do. And it was just, I mean, like, wow, I wish I had the foresight to think through that and do that.
Well,
Or go ahead.
you were talking about, picking up those little skills to help you with that. I don't know if I want to admit it, but I actually started on trumpet years back in high school, and jazz band had a whole bunch of trumpet players, but didn't have enough trombone players. So I said, hey, I'll do this, and I'm glad I did, because as soon as I started getting more competent on trombone, when we jumped into piano class at LSU, I was like, oh, I know this, and then we had, it seemed like it was a little easier for the instrumentalists on piano than it was the vocalists at the time.
Oh yeah.
But I was just like, and I see some of these other vocalists, and they're just like struggling to play the piano. And obviously I don't want to point out anybody like that, but at the same time, those little skills that you pick up ahead of time, they really do, just like you said, really do help.
And with that, I remember, and especially with that specific, area of learning how to be, a music teacher and getting to know all the other instruments, you had to ask for help.
Yeah.
I remember, whether it was trumpet or French horn, asking a horn student, like, hey, can you, and I was surprised at how many, no one said no. No one was like, no, I don't have time for this. I mean, maybe not at that moment, but so yeah, let's set up a time to do it. And having that sense of like, I appreciate what you're trying to do. I want to help you get there.
Yeah.
Or if, someone asked me about a percussion thing and I'd be, oh, of course, let me help you figure that out, because that only benefits other people down the line. So something else I would say to the young crowd is be willing to ask for help and be willing to say, I don't know what I don't know.
Exactly. Well, that's actually something that a lot of like young teachers, sometimes I've noticed is, you got those young teachers that are super gung ho and they don't want to embarrass themselves. And like, I'm talking like first year type teachers
Oh, sure.
sometimes. And, they're afraid to ask their mentors, or sometimes they're afraid to ask other people. And you really shouldn't be. Everybody's there for the same reason, for the kids. And,
Right.
yeah, you're absolutely right with that. So God knows I've asked a lot, and I had no problem, being a little, what's the right way of saying this? Vulnerable at times.
Oh, of course. You got to be vulnerable, because you got to be able to, admit where, that's how growth is really achieved, is knowing what you need to do, or if not, figuring out where that point is. And, I think the more, I still talk to other directors today about, I'm having problems with this student with this instrument for this,
Hmm.
I need what can you tell me that I'm not thinking of, and just whether it's that or having a colleague come listen to your band, um, and just, what do you hear? And valuing, I know I say that word a lot, but I really do believe in it, the word value, and like there's so much value that can be done from this experience
Hmm.
that we need to really be appreciative of, excuse me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm still looking. I'm looking for the perfect balance. And for me, I've been at like we just had a pre-assessment concert, and I talked to Keith Taylor. One of the things I was asking him is like, I have in this ballad area. So we bands, a lot of band directors do some great marches, and they sound good, and they're very like rock solid. But then you get to the ballads, and
Hmm.
your kids aren't as comfortable with them sometimes. And I'm working out chords. I'm working out things like putting the right hand down for like your throat tones for clarinet, which as a brass player, brass is your specialty, right?
Of course.
And so I'm bringing down the pitch a little bit with that, but I still have this slight, I almost want to say haze, this fuzz, and it's a little difficult too because I'm trying to tune everybody. We use, obviously we use the tuner as a pitch, but that's not where we base everything. We're listening, trying
Hmm.
to sound like one instrument, things like that. But I still have like this in some areas, this little bit of haze. And so I'm thinking, is it an alto? Is it this? So yeah, you're right. If I can find more of those little tiny tricks, um, that'd be awesome. And plus doing stuff like this, like doing the live stream,
Sure.
reading, finding out what people publish, you know, it's great because you learn those. It's like you don't expect to learn. You're not going to learn everything at one spot. You're
Oh,
going
of
to
course.
learn in little spots from different people, and that's part of the journey. Which I don't know about. Well, I'm sure you've taught 21 years. This is your job. This is your career. This is what you love to do. I wouldn't be here. We both taught 21, 22 years, somewhere in there
Yeah.
like that. So I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm in it for the long game. So
I don't know, you know, I would be I would be lying if I didn't say that I'm very, I'm really happy that I get to do this. And even when it's hard and it's, a
mhm.
challenge,
That will
and
be
days
hard.
are long, and things, are coming down the pipe that are making our jobs a lot more challenging from time to time. It's just the fact that we get to do this is we're really lucky.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
It is. It is awesome when all the stars align. In fact, I remember our Frank Wicks, going back to him. It was during one of our, it must have been one of our rehearsals outside for marching band, and he said, I think it was outside, and he just said, "You know what? There's going to be a lot of times when things are tough. You're going to be tired, this and that, but when you have your good moments, it makes it all worth it."
Oh yeah.
So,
When the struggles of putting the piece together, and then that first time in when they can play through it the whole way without stopping, or you feel like you could see that sense of accomplished. Look what we just did. We were able to do that. Now let's do it again and make sure that and reinforce it, and keep doing it. That you see that, like, the kids finally get it. That switch clicks, and you're very you're very, it's like,
oh,
this is great.
yes, yes, indeed. All right, so I have one or two more questions for you. Um, so my next question for you is: do you have ties to other music affiliations other than your primary teaching job?
Well, here in the state of Virginia, I happen to be a member of the executive board here for the Virginia Band and Orchestra Directors Association. I'm the state middle school rep. So,
Well,
in
that's pretty awesome.
yeah,
Now, kind of more focusing you in a different direction here.
okay,
Don't you have a wife that's involved in music too?
I do. I
Can
am
you tell me
married.
a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, I'm married to Katie O'Hara LaBrie. She is she was a teacher We met at the same. We actually both were teaching at the same school, and band director, orchestra director. Very.
Oh, okay.
It was. It was the talk of the school. Really, it was. I mean, it was our own soap opera. No, I'm kidding. Uh,
Well, with the kids, they're
you never knew what they.
yep.
I we, it was the day after or the weekend after I had proposed. We were still, we were still at the same school, and I'm like, oh, and I have some news, and I was like, oh, I happen to be getting married, and they, oh, that's great. I said, well, who? And I was like, and you'll never guess who it is, and they're like, is it Miss O'Hara? And I'm like, oh, okay, so you all knew. We try to keep that sort of thing a secret. It's like, yeah, you're not gonna,
Oh, they know, or they'll just guess that anyways because you're both teachers.
right. They'll just guess it, right? But she is currently, um, she is a composer and a music publisher. Uh,
Okay, so she's not in the schools anymore. She's
she's
doing the
not. She's
composer end.
full
Okay.
time, full time composing and full time publishing, editing. She is, she's been published. She puts out compositions through a couple different of the bigger publishing companies.
Okay.
But
She actually with the Manassas City String Orchestra, she actually wrote something. They played it with her there last year for us.
right, she has written a few pieces that, which is going back to the dealing with students from different age levels, finding ways to have the students interact with each other and play is a great way to help with retention. And she's written a couple pieces now where it's multi-level, and
Okay.
it's the orchestra, the elementary school plays simpler parts than the middle school, which are playing, and then the advanced, the high schools, and it's just kind of all put together. um, and she's done the composing thing for over 10 years now.
Oh.
But most recently, she is the string editor for Randall Standridge Music. So
Oh.
Randall
Okay.
Standridge, having his own publishing company, he started branching out and doing other band composers and then bringing in orchestra. And my wife is the string editor for that. So she's currently in the throes of getting out the new catalog, getting ready for that to come out in
Nice.
a couple of months.
Cool. That's actually really exciting, man.
Yeah, it's neat to see we've done this for so long on our side in the classroom, and being able to appreciate what composers do, and then getting to see it from that other side on a not just a business level, but a logistic level, and just that whole process. And we I was able to, right after the pandemic, when kids are coming back into the classroom, I said, hey, would you be willing to write a piece
For
and
your group.
for my group?
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, we kind of, she did it, and it turned into Fortify, which is a pretty big band. It was one of the last, in the last couple of years, of FJH that was put out there. So things like that are just neat to see from a standpoint of, like, from creation to publication.
That's pretty amazing. And one of one of those cool things about being married to someone that does what she does is she really appreciates what you do too and understands what the responsibility, the schedule and everything that's associated with it.
We have a very musical household, and a recently turned 11-year-old who just who's playing his percussion for he's following
Oh,
in
dad's
daddy's
listening.
footsteps. He's a percussionist, so
Nice, congratulations.
Lord help us all. you know?
When does he get a drum set?
Oh, he's already got it. We
Oh,
got
okay, all right.
basement. It was it's for both of us.
Oh, good. Well, good for you and good for him and good for you recognizing that, that kind of stuff's important.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. Well, we're going to start to wrap up here. So, before we do wrap up, though, Joe, how can people get in contact with you if they want to touch base with you?
Sure. I have. I'm not. I'm on Facebook. Um, it's it's Joe LaBrie on Facebook. I think I'm the only one, but if not, yeah, I don't know. But I have an email address. It's Go Tigers. It's no. It's LSU
LS
LABRIE
Okay.
at iCloud.com.
Okay. Well, and what we'll do is we'll add these into the description
Yeah, of
of the live
course.
stream too. So, if anybody's excited about that, and want to tell, and by the way, everybody, if you're in the world of music ed, this guy, he's very humble about this, but this is guy is a great guy to come to, for all kinds of things, all kinds of things. So, all right. Well, Joe, I wanted to say thank you. It's been awesome having you on the live stream, and hopefully one day we can have you back on. And I'm sure I'll see you round two. So
Of course.
uh, definitely want to appreciate tell you we're very appreciative of that. So uh, with that said, I want to thank all of you in the live stream. Thank you for joining the Music Educator live stream. We are grateful for your participation and enthusiasm, and we hope you enjoyed the session. This session found it inspiring because it is Joe LaBrie, and it should be inspiring because he's an inspiring guy. So be sure to stay tuned for future events because we have a lot of exciting things planned for you in the future. And be sure to stay connected and continue to explore the world of music education with us. Have a great day, everybody. See ya.
Thanks all.